Are you, like many others, trying to make sense of what's going on in the world? Thankfully, we can find some insight in the Bible. So come with us on a journey to unraveling Revelation.
Hi, my name is Santo. I'm from Sydney, Australia, and we've been in a 9-week lockdown over a COVID outbreak, and the only ones who are allowed to go out of their house within 1 week's time will be those who are vaccinated. And if you're not vaccinated, we are not allowed to leave. So that's the context of what I'm going to share with you today. Does the book of Revelation speak about an end time medical political tyranny? Does the book of Revelation speak about an end time medical political tyranny? I don't think there's ever been a time in Earth's history where all the governments of the world are basically united in one cause, and that is get everybody vaccinated to deal with the COVID-19 crisis. Never. Islamic countries, Christian countries, Arabic countries, Asian, Hindu, Buddhist, all united. Does the Bible talk about an end-time political union with a medical agenda? Well, let's have a look at the text in the book of Revelation, okay? Let's have a look at Revelation 18, 23 to 24. This series of teachings will be in about 6 or 7 7-minute chunks, okay? So it's going to help you digest it. I will try to get these out one day after another. Okay, so let's have a look. Does the Bible speak about an end-time medical, political, global tyranny? Yeah? Let's have a look. Revelation 18, 23 to 24. The complete Jewish Bible says this: "The light of a lamp will never shine in you again, Babylon. Babylon. The voice of the bridegroom and the bride will never be heard again in you, Babylon. For your businessmen were the most powerful on earth. All the nations were deceived by your magic spell, and in her, Babylon, was found the blood of the prophets and the people of God, indeed all who have ever been slaughtered on the earth." Okay, highly symbolic passage, but if you read it more like a fairy tale, you can understand what the storyline is, yeah? Let's unpack these verses. That's Revelation 18, 23 to 24, and let's unpack the narrative. We're going to do narrative analysis. Let the story in the text inform us as to what it can and can't mean. So let's just have a look at it like a fairy tale, yeah? And let's just see what it's saying. This is what these verses have been saying. God is speaking to a power called Babylon. Babylon is united with the business people of the earth, and they are the most powerful people on the earth. And they unite together to cast magic spell on all the nations of the earth. Then as a result of the union of Babylon and the great business people of the earth coming together, casting a spell on all the nations of the earth and deceiving them, that the end result is God's people's blood is shed. That's the basic plot line. Let me read it again. It's important we understand the unfolding story because this will help us in applying it historically. Revelation 18, 23 to 24. Read it. Just listen to it again for the basic plot line, yeah? "The light of a lamp will never shine in you again, Babylon. The voice of the bridegroom and the bride will never be heard again in you, Babylon." He's talking to Babylon. "For your businessmen," Babylon's businessmen, "for your businessmen were the most powerful on earth. All the nations were deceived by your magic spell." Clear. Babylon unites with all the great business, powerful people of the earth, so it's global of the earth. They come together, and by some kind of magic spell, they deceive all the nations. This is a global crisis where you've got a union of Babylon and all the great business people of the earth coming together to deceive all nations of the earth, and they use a magic spell. You say, what's this got to do with today? And the result is, verse 24, "And in her, as a result, was found the blood of the prophets and God's people on earth." So it ends up in persecution. Okay, so that's basic storyline. The storyline is easy to understand. How does this apply in history? That's another issue, and we're going to unpack that over the next 6 or 7 short, power-packed videos. Okay, let's start backwards in this passage. It says, as a result of this union between Babylon, which has got global power, and all the businessmen, most powerful businessmen of the earth, so it's a global alliance between Babylon and all the great powerful businessmen of the earth, all nations, global, are going to be deceived globally by this union of businessmen in Babylon by some kind of magic spell, some worldwide deception. But it's obvious that the followers of Jesus get killed because they don't go along with this spell. They were not tricked, and they get killed as a result. So who are God's people? Is this the Jews? Who are they? Is it Christians? Is it Israel? Who are God's people that are going to be persecuted as a result of this union between Babylon and the great business powerful people of the earth, using some kind of magical trick to deceive the nations, and the God's people are not deceived and they get killed as a result? Who are God's people? Are we informed? Yes, we are. In Revelation 17:5 and 6, we read the following. Revelation 17:5 and 6, the people who are killed through Babylon and the business people through magic are identified as Christians. Revelation 17:5 and 6, the name written on her forehead was Mystery, Babylon the Great. It's clear. He's talking about Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes. And I saw that the woman, Babylon, was drunk with the blood of God's holy people. Who are they in particular? The blood of those who bore testimony to Jesus. It's Christians. God's followers, Christians, at some time in history, are going to be killed when Babylon, a worldwide power, unites with all the great business people of the world. They unite together and they practice magic on all the nations, and they get all the nations. They deceive them all, but they don't get the Christians, those who have the testimony of Jesus. But they don't get the Christians. And as a result, the Christians are killed. Okay? So that's the storyline. And this is exactly what gets God's attention through this unholy union, is that they're killing Christians. They're following the followers of Jesus. And it says that in Revelation 19:1 and 2, speaking of Babylon. After this, I heard what sounded like the roar of a great multitude in heaven shouting, Hallelujah! Salvation and glory and power belong to our God. For true and just are his judgments. He has condemned the great prostitute, Babylon. Babylon's now judged. Why? He has avenged on Babylon the blood of his servants. That is what gets God's attention. What's the end time plot here? Babylon comes together with all the great business people of the world. It's global. They deceive all nations of the world. It's global. And they use magic globally. But the followers of Jesus are not deceived by this magic. And they're killed. And this gets God's attention, and then Babylon is judged. Okay? That's the storyline. In the following videos, we're going to unpack it more. Who exactly is Babylon? Who exactly are these business people of the world? What is this magic that they use? What is this magic they use? And how does this cast a spell on the nations of the earth, all the world, but doesn't on the followers of God, who end up getting killed as a result? Okay? We're going to be involved in a great journey.